2.
Welcome, Powur Hitters. Today is Tuesday, February 23rd, and today this is our weekly Powur Hitters meeting, sales training. Welcome, everybody, Powur Hitters OGs, along with the new Powur Hitters on this meeting. We are welcome to have you here. Every week at 10 o'clock, we do a training here with Jay Brunasso, JB3 in the house. And we're going to break down some topics, some success stories, and a little bit of Q&A coming hot off of Solar Scale Up 2021. We are all pumped up out of our freaking minds right now. They dropped so many bombs, amazing bombs of love. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting into all of that. So just like we start off every week, why don't we start off with some success stories? So if anybody has a success story from either over the convention, a nice win, a recruit, a sale, why don't you go ahead and raise your hand or hop on up and share it with the crew?
I could share.
Okay, who was that?
Anthony Bonilla.
So, Anthony, yeah, go ahead, man. Floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So I recently onboarded a loan officer from Virginia. Met him at a networking event 2 weeks ago. And this gentleman already is onboarding about 8 people, which I had a call with this morning at 5 a.m. So just want to welcome the Virginia team.
Nice. Way to grow it. Very good, Anthony. Anybody else like to share a win or success story?
I'll share. I just got 2 installations done last week. Everything went smooth. And after the convention with the news, with the 400 panels, the Enphase storage, that brought back 3 deals that were kind of dead. That had some customers that were set on 400 watt panels. So I got about 3 or 4 deals to call back and bring back. So
excellent, Mohammed.
Good job.
Yeah, those Aptos 400s are an absolute game changer. I mean, just being able to get that much wattage and production off of a single panel, and not to mention they're black on black, sexy, beautiful panel. I called panels sexy yesterday during a presentation. They laughed. I never thought I would say that about solar panels, but looking at them so often, they're beautiful panels, and the price you cannot compete with. So yeah, I feel like we're going to be able to earn quite a bit of business because of that. And actually, yeah, like you said, get back some deals that were maybe hanging there on the fence.
I think I saw Lily, Dwayne, and Kiara, maybe. Lily?
Oh, okay. So I brought 2 people on board since the convention. I'm working on my 3rd. And then just basically all my reps are starting to come up with a bunch of deals and bills. So just everyone's producing, so that's all I want. I just want them all to get that first sale in within their first week. So guy signed up on Sunday, and he literally has a solar company he already works with, but they're not in California, Nevada, Texas, or Arizona, and he's been wanting to expand. So he said, rather than me try to take my operations over there, I will just use your network. And because he wanted the Enphase batteries, and he saw little clips of social media. I tell you guys, social media, I posted where Enphase is saying that Powur had 1,000% growth, and he was just like, is that true? And I'm like, yeah. And so we talked about it, and then he's like, send me some stuff, and he signed up like immediately and put in his first deal, which we should be closing today. So all pretty quick.
Good job, Lily.
Thank you.
Nice. Good job.
This is Kiara. I could say a few things. So I just wanted to welcome James. He introduced himself at the beginning of this meeting, but I introduced the Powur opportunity to him, and he has a good head on his shoulders, and he saw that this is the place that he needs to be. So I'm going to be helping him get his first deal. He's working on the training. So we're excited to have James. And then Philip's also joining. We onboarded him a week ago. So just really supporting the team and getting them their first sales.
Fantastic, Kiara.
Awesome.
Rock star status. Dwayne, what you
Good
got?
morning, guys. Yeah, good morning, guys. I'm pretty excited. I've had the privilege of working with Jonathan Brunasso, and got my first 2 deals done. Just went on a site survey yesterday, And it was a great experience again, just making sure that the customers were happy. There was no real issues. And as I was driving home, I got a phone call back from a contractor, a roofing contractor that wants to sign up under me. And I'm pretty stoked now. So I shared that with Jonathan as well. But I am excited to work with Jonathan, work with his team, and looking forward to learning as much as I need to know, to continue to grow and support all of the customers that I'm in front of.
Oh, love it,
Awesome.
Dwayne. Great to work with you. We closed some pretty nice deals here in just a matter of weeks. So great job. Marisa, let's go. Last one here. What do you got?
All right. Well, I had a guy that's a part of my BNI, and I'd run him a proposal prior to the Scale Up event. Right after he shot me, basically, right, and went over to another company. But right after Scale Up, they had the 400, the 400 Aptos available. What he was shopping me were panels that were 400 wattage, black on black. So after Scale Up, I was able to write up another proposal, send that over to him, and we're going to be signing his contract today at 12. So I have him, and then I also was speaking to the guy that's building my ADU, and he builds ADUs out of San Diego and Inland Empire. And so we're linking up with him today because I'm going to have him signed up under me as a consultant. He was on the call yesterday, and so he's pretty excited about the platform as well. So he'll be signing up today as well too. So I'm really excited about the event, and I've got 5 proposals in front of me right now. That were all old that I'm running back, I'm rerunning these proposals and just shooting them emails and, texting them and follow up with them after that and saying, hey, can we jump on a quick call? So I'm expecting to close a few deals this week.
Yes.
love that.
Awesome.
The hustle, the follow-up.
Jeez.
Girl power.
All these tools and announcements giving us more power than I could have anticipated. So this is amazing stuff. Jarrett, thank you so much for kicking us off and really pushing this momentum forward with the Tuesday weekly meetings. They are fantastic. So I'm going to hand it off in a minute to my mentor, someone that I look up to, I've gotten to know very well and spend a lot of time with, who, when I struggled on not closing some deals, he said, record yourself and send me the recording of you presenting. And he gave me some constructive feedback that I really needed to hear. So he's always there with me every step of the moment through constructive criticism, motivation, teaching me how to communicate better and be a part of this awesome freaking company. So Charles Thompson, the ball is yours, sir.
Brunasso, thank you, sir. And I'm glad you look at that as constructive criticism, because that is the intent. And I think that's important for everyone to do that from time to time. We kind of get in our flow and don't necessarily look back at what we're doing. And from time to time, it takes another person to say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, right? As opposed to you just doing your thing and thinking you're in the groove. What you say isn't always what they hear. So I think it's important from time to time just to kind of do a checkup from the neck up, if you will, which I think this convention did an incredible job as. And if you want to just kind of go through a couple of those slides, JB, it's interesting because what I saw being at the convention was different than what you saw and vice versa. It's incredible to see what this facility has done. We've got people like Tony Robbins actually contacting us now, asking to be able to use that facility for upcoming events. That's how kick-ass this place is. I mean, $750,000 was spent with the vision of doing this. And you see some of these slides. There was 11 people in the command room. This wasn't just, a Zoom meeting, as you very well know. And I think that initially that's what people might have thought, oh, here we go, another big Zoom CEO call. No, this was a production. I was honored to be part of it. And I hope that you all felt the same way. I mean, the feedback has been phenomenal. What I want to do today is just kind of recap one of the segments that I covered and take a little bit of a deeper dive, maybe even get into some Q&A. And to me, it was the wrap up of everything that we've been talking about, that we learned at the event. And it was the 5-part framework, the last one being the 1-year game plan. So as we go through the slides, just kind of want to dive in a little bit here and talk about what my intent was, because obviously we were broadcasting that event. We weren't able to take a lot of open Q&A. So go ahead and flip down the next slide, JB. And, you know, we all know it. Anybody who's been in this industry absolutely knows it's a solar coaster, right? And man, woman, people, did we have our share of solar coaster issues this past year, which I believe majority of them are behind us, but it's a construction project. As an example, I had a personal project yesterday that they were at the install, they put all the panels and they're installing the inverter, and they realized they can't do it where they said they were going to do it. And they wanted to put it in a location. The homeowner kind of freaked out. So I just got on the phone with them. I said, hey, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's just a construction project. Let us get a chance to see where else we can put it, and just, you know, give us about an hour. He just kind of lost his, you know what, and just calmly saying, don't worry about it. This happens. You know, even though it was permitted that way, it's okay. It's that kind of tone and that peace of mind that you approach the homeowner with is really important, knowing that this is kind of the cycle that we go through. Same thing with seasonal distractions and all those things. And the only thing I want to kind of focus on in this particular slide is the comment about tracking the deals, not the dollars. Sometimes, and I know it's harder when we're first getting started, that we're looking at the economics right out the gate. I will just share with you from a personal level what I'm seeing within Powur, and they're not going to make an announcement about it. You're just going to start seeing really fast payouts on M1s. And just so you know, behind the scenes, what they have done is they've made a systematic change that they're not going to wait for the cost sheets to come in. They're going to wait for the site survey to be done to know that it's a valid project. And then they're going to go ahead and straight up and advance. They're not going to wait for the cost sheets and have to make adjustments. They can take care of all that during M2. I believe what we're going to see is a contract to M1 payment in the range of about 7 days, which means the site survey may be 3, 4, 5 days in, but the day that they get that report back on site survey, that's when we're going to get the M1. It's kind of like an old daily pay. Those who have been around for a little while know when Powur switched to daily pay, it was a game changer. That's coming for what we're doing here in Powur. And it's going back to the same conversation about the most important person in the company is us. We are. I sit on all the corporate meetings, the board meetings, and I'm blessed and honored to do that. But it's not a show. It's a reality. It's a culture of this company. And they know what some of us have gone through, particularly in California, with the struggles with the construction issues and everything else. And they're doing everything in their power to resolve it. So if you stay focused on the deals and not getting too hung up in the drama and the distractions that can go along with that, that's going to help you a lot. And from my personal experience, having been through this for a number of years, 10 years in the industry, it's the same everywhere you go. Doesn't matter whether it's Powur or NRG or Direct Energy or Solar City or Sunrun, you're going to have issues. It is a construction project. So on the next slide, what I did is I took time in talking with the leadership, Mr. Brunasso and JC and all the speakers. We had just, leading up into the event, we had twice weekly meetings with all of the leaders, a lot of collaboration. And we took some of what I believe are the best ideas in terms of how to structure this. And I reverse engineered a blueprint, because if you're new, or if you're someone who's been around for a few minutes, this is not a bad time to kind of look back and re-engineer where it is that you want to be. And what I did here was just saying, let's just take it to the numbers, right? So if we're tracking the numbers in this case, this is a good way to look at it. Start with the number of conversations and bills and presentations and all that. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see that I kind of break it down, right? It starts with creating a list, which is not what everybody typically does. That's what we coach. You build that list, you become a bill collector. And I trained on that day one, which again, we know, I don't mean seriously a bill collector, but a utility bill collector. And then as you start to get comfortable, build out that ambassador network. And you're going to find in Powur University a lot of new training that's going to help you with each of those steps along the way. And then we're going to continue to enhance that training much, much better than anything that we've had in the past few years. But if it doesn't fall into those categories, don't do it, in my opinion, especially in your first 60 to 90 days. It should fall into those: building your list, becoming a bill collector, and starting to build your network. And what I did is I took the big picture, right, the 1 year, and I just want to kind of hit those quickly so that I can recap it and get it down to the basics. So if you were in the convention, the intent was to say, yeah, if you want to make $100,000 a year, to be very candid, as you just rewind the tape and go through and reverse engineer this, it's going to come down to one behavior every single day. And that behavior is to become a bill collector and have one conversation a day that will end up going in reverse engineering. So all of those numbers you're looking at, just multiply times 3. So if you got 1.8 conversations, 1.08 conversations, multiply that times 0.3. That's going to mean you're going to get 1/3 of a utility bill. So the more bills you want to collect or more presentations you want to collect, just the more conversations you have to have. Is as simple as we're trying to make this. And if it's simply 100K and that's where you want to be, that's one conversation a day. And on the next slide, it kind of breaks it out a little bit more. It gets into the daily routines. And the next is, okay, now you divide your business into 2 sections, right? You've got that solar conversation. That's what we just talked about the 100K on. And then you have your business conversation. That is if you want to start establishing your passive income. And it all does come down to, just looks like Jarrett's got some paper going on there, comes down to 1 conversation per day. So on the next slide, we'll kind of wrap with the call to action, if you will. And we all share a lot about why. How I got to share one kind of funny story. And, you never had an agenda, because we couldn't figure out how everything was going to flow with technology on this first event, learned a ton of information. So there was an internal agenda that shifted about every 2 hours. And one of the shifts was just divine timing, in my opinion. And that was where Loan Pal was supposed to be in the afternoon. And we had to shift them to an earlier time to accommodate the Admiral and a couple of other shifts that had to occur. And the timing of, you heard the why conversation to me coming up and sharing my why was just an example of why we couldn't have one agenda. We really had to go with the flow, and you're kind of spinning the plates for the different speakers and everything we do. So I thought it was awesome how just all that came together. So hopefully with this convention, you've established your why. And now take that math, establish your goal, build that list, and just start to submit the bills. So just what I asked everybody at the end of the convention, I got a ton of text messages from people who are in my organization. I'm blessed to have that. And I'd like to ask you all to do the same thing. If you haven't already done that, it's time to say, I'm going to recommit, or I'm going to now commit. And that is, get with your mentor, your sponsor, enroll, or whatever terms you want to use, someone who's going to support you down that path. Make sure they know your why, because I think it's pretty clear that if you have a strong enough why, and if you need one, I'll share one with you. But if you have a strong enough why, then no matter what those issues are that solar coaster is going to throw at you, it's not going to matter. Yes, you'll deal with it. You'll deal with the drama that may go behind it, but you stay focused on why you are doing this. If it's economic, then great. You can reverse engineer the numbers to get to what you want. But if it's about a purpose, and I believe most of us are here for a purpose, knowing that the impact of our purpose is going to create the income that we want. So I just ask you to share with whoever enrolled you, who's mentoring you, what your why is, what your goal is. And then what I ask people to do in the convention is pick one strategy, so you don't overwhelm it, right? Whether that strategy is going to be you're going to master just getting bills, or whether the strategy is you're going to master doing team building, maybe the LinkedIn strategy with Bobby Smith. So if you haven't done that, I would encourage you to work with your mentor and go through this process of committing yourself to your why, your goals, and your strategy. So with that, I think that's the last slide I had, JB. I know we called this morning. That was my call to action. If you don't mind, I'd like to just open it up for Q&A and any conversations around that topic. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. Thank you, sir. Comments, questions? Don't be shy.
Anything for Charles.
Charles, I kind of know this, but I would like if you could share the simplicity on how to get a bill without giving too much information and kind of dangling the appointment as where they're going to get that info.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the hardest thing for people to really get to understand why we need an electric bill, and then how to communicate that to a homeowner. So in a casual conversation with somebody, you've got to get to the point where you're prepared to have that conversation, but just explain why we need the electric bill. Number one, we need to know how much you're using in terms of energy, because that's going to tell us how big or how small the system's going to be. which means it's going to tell us how much it's going to cost. And I'm sure you want to know how much it's going to cost, right? Shake your head. You want to know how much it's going to cost. And the simplest way to do that is just give me a copy of your electric bill. I'll turn it over to our design team. They're going to be able to tell by the kilowatt hour consumption exactly what type of system and size system we're going to need. Then you and I can sit down and see if this even makes sense for you. The other thing that we want to look at is how much you're paying for a kilowatt hour of energy, because that's going to tell us the economic benefits, whether it's even going to make sense for you, because not everybody is eligible for this. You know, it's 40 million homes in the US that just aren't eligible. And if you're not eligible, I don't want to waste your time. And the fastest way to do that, like I said a minute ago, just get me a copy of your recent electric bill. I'll turn it over to our design team. They'll do the work. I'll look at the economics, and you and I can either say, this is a good decision to look at, or no. The more casual you make that and more why-based you make that, I mean, literally within minutes, I get a text message or an email with electric bills. There's no hesitancy. There's no resistance. What happens if you don't give them the why, they tend to think, I don't want to send somebody my electric bill because that's got a lot of personal information on there. That happens, joke with them. First of all, what is the worst thing that I can do with your electric bill? Pay it, right? Laugh, just make it fun. It's the worst thing I can do with that. But then the other part is follow it up, say, I want to help you. And there's no way I can help you because I work for you, right? I don't work for a manufacturer, a lender, or any one company. I have access to a platform to give you exactly what it is that you're going to need. But that all starts with knowing how much energy you use and knowing how much you're paying for that energy, so we can see if this even makes sense. Do you want me to at least see if this makes sense for you? Yes, great. Get me a copy of your electric bill. It's always tie it back to the why you need the electric bill, and you're not going to have any hesitancy. I haven't. Once you explain to them properly why it is you need that electric bill. Does that help?
Absolutely, yes. I wanted the new people to hear, like, the less information, the better it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it really does come down to two facts. That's it. Go ahead.
I have a question. Do you require just one electric bill, or do you get the 12 months or just winter and summer bill?
So if they have a grid on the bill, one is going to be adequate because they'll be able to tell based upon that grid each month by month. If they don't have a grid on the bill, we can still work with one bill. And what the team does is they take that one bill. There's an algorithm behind the scenes that they use. They'll take the one bill, that'll tie into local data. There's a whole bunch of data that pumps into that, and it will predict what the energy usage will be for the other 11 months. I say that's about 90 to 95% accurate. So part of the discovery after you have that, and I always build that into the education presentation, is by asking questions. Is there something unusual in their patterns that could be significantly different than the home next door, that may be the exact same square footage, exact same floor plan, but one's using 1,000 more kilowatt hours a year than the other one, because maybe this one has a hot tub. Maybe this one heats his or her pool. I mean, there's just variables that come into the consideration that just get that through discovery, asking about their patterns. Are there things, do you want to use more energy? Is there a reason you haven't been using energy? Have you held back because it costs too much? Or have you just been really conservative? Just ask questions, get them telling you. And the beauty is on that dynamic proposal tool, the savings report, you can edit that. Say, well, based upon this conversation, I think we should increase your estimated usage by X, and have them be part of buying off on that. Then you start to adjust the system. So really it's all about tying them into that conversation and making sure they understand why you're doing what you're doing post getting the electric bill. But you can move forward with one electric bill, to your question. Okay. Any follow-ups to that?
I may just a follow-up.
Sure, go ahead.
My client doesn't want to include the first page, probably because of the account number, and of course we need it. However, she just submitted the third page, which has the bar graph and the kilowatt usage. Will that be sufficient enough?
Yeah, that'll be sufficient. So, and this isn't meant specifically to you, but in general, when a prospect, because they're not a client at this point, right? When a prospect is saying those types of things, typically what they're saying is that you haven't earned their trust. It's just the reality of it. You haven't earned their trust. And that's why they're hesitant about the account number information. That's why you kind of joke about that and say, what's the worst thing I can do with your account? Pay your bill? And kind of laugh, right? But there are those few that they just aren't going to trust anybody. So don't take it personal. Say, you know what? Black out your account information. Just make sure I get everything that I need. So A, I'm going to need your address so I can make sure our design team designs it on the right home. You don't want it on your neighbor's home, right? And then make sure that at least I see the economics of the graph, the amount of kilowatt hours. Just don't black out that information, but black out your account information. That's perfectly fine. Just make it, but it's the tone in which you say that to the homeowner that gives them the reassurance that it's okay. Your information's safe. It's really important that they feel that, the tone and inflection in your voice.
Thank you.
You bet. My pleasure. Anybody else?
I just want to back.
question.
Go ahead. Think two at one time. Ronald, I think.
Yes. I'm new to the company. I've seen some solar proposals that are over 100%, and I was just curious on those that are over 100%. Was that because of they need northern exposure, or?
There's a lot of variables into the answer of that question, but first it's important to know that what we get back is a max fit design. And then it's our jobs as the consultants or mentor in the project to take that to the desired offset. There are cases where, and you've got some experts on here, and particularly utilities that can dive into that specific training, maybe in a separate module. There are some utilities that you want to be at 110, 120% offset to take care of mitigating some of the extra costs for whether it be time of use billing and those types of things. We won't get into real details today, but generally, if you work with a mentor on that, you'll find out why as you look at a specific project. But just know that the initial design, make it back at 300, 400% offset. That's our job to take that and dial it in to what we need for that particular homeowner's needs and relative to whatever billing cycle they're on. So that safe enough answer, JB?
Yeah,
Thank you.
totally.
You bet.
Each situation's unique. Work with some leadership, a mentor. In California, we generally need to be between 110 to 120% offset. Like Charles said, because of time of use. That's not necessarily giving extra. That's just trying to get the utility bill down to the minimum. Yeah.
Right on. Yep. I think there's one other question, then I'll turn it back over, JB. Anybody else that we got cut off?
Yeah, Charles, I have a question.
Yes, sir, Dwayne.
And I've kind of run this by Jonathan. You know, I'm pretty comfortable with the selling process, and I've had tremendous success working with other solar companies, but I've never had to play this role of recruiting, you know, to build my team around me. And tell me about your approach. How do you figure, you know, somebody's going to be a good candidate to recruit and sign up as a candidate to work with you?
You bet. Well, that's another one of those, a lot of answers I could share on that. But the number one thing that I tend to avoid is I stay away from solar professionals. No offense, because some of us have been in this industry for a while, but they have a tendency of bringing in their baggage. And until you're really ready for that baggage and how to handle it, I would recommend going to people who just have sales experience. And sales experience, think about this. We get paid in 4 different income streams. So somebody could say, yeah, I'm getting paid X per deal. And maybe somehow they're getting paid more than we're paying today. But that's just such a narrow lens that they're looking at, right? Take a look at, you know, JB as an example. What's your passive income that you're pacing now, Jonathan?
I mean, it's 4 to 6K per week right now.
Okay, where can you go? And Jonathan's been a year active, I think, in the platform, and looking at $250,000 a year in passive income, whether you sell something or don't sell something. So it's painting a picture for these people to look beyond just that narrow lens of I'm getting paid X dollars per deal. Well, that's great, but it goes well beyond that. It goes to, on the team building side for you, particularly Dwayne, every single one of those deals that they generate, that's passive income for you. right? And I coach to build, don't worry about building a massive organization. Just find over the next couple of years, 40 to 50 people you want to work with, that you like to work with. It's not just about anybody. Make it somebody you actually want to work with. There are people who just bring anybody into the business. That just isn't sometimes as much fun, to be very candid with you, because you don't know what you're getting. So first of all, I'd like somebody that I want to work with as opposed to just recruiting somebody, number one. Okay. And number two, in terms of being able to communicate with them is showing what's different between the Powur platform and any other solar company, or quite frankly, any other great sales industry out there. And that is the ability to leverage. So you've got the great income off of the selling. Then you have the passive income off of whatever form of team building you want. I shared in the training that one contract per month, if you just had 5 people on your team and they just do one contract per month, that's going to generate a $30,000 to $40,000 a year passive income, which is approaching the medium income in the country passively, just a handful of people. So if you look at that from that lens and say, well, okay, if then I want to get it to 70,000 or 100,000, that just means just get more people to do that on your front line. And then some of those are going to go out and do the same thing. One person in your business, I'll take Jonathan Brunasso, for example. One person in my business has made me a lot of money every single month because of what he does personally and what this team is doing. You just never know who it's going to be, but if it's people you like, then it doesn't matter, right? You can have fun, you can socialize with them. So back to the source of income, you get your active income, you get your passive income, and we get something that I haven't seen in any other company out there unless you were advanced to management, and that is mentorship income. And that's the greatest part of team building, is you get to mentor those people on their first 1, 3, 5, sometimes 10 projects because they want to work with you. And then the icing on the cake we always talk about is the stock options. We don't know what that value truly is going to be, but I do believe, based upon what you are seeing now, and hopefully you're seeing the vision and mission of this company, and you're seeing the COO and founders of companies like Enphase going, we're changing our company to align with Powur. I sat there with the 3 executives, including Spencer, and the words came right out of their mouth. We are changing our company to align with Powur. We see Powur as our future. What other company can go out there and say that that's what the manufacturers and lenders are doing? They're aligning with us. That's where the stock value is going to skyrocket as we go public, in my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Dwayne, and just if I can give you asked about, who you should recruit and if there's a specific type of people, I would say recruit people that you like.
Yep. Big time.
Okay.
I think he froze there, Charles.
He did froze. I thought it was me.
He just dropped the mic.
People you like. Leave it at that.
Your team building experience a lot better.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
All right. I don't want to hog any more time. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all today. Honored to be part of this team, and I'm excited about what you all are doing. And the best is definitely ahead, folks. Let's work together and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you. My honor.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Charles the man. All right. Let me reset the room just a little bit. This is our Tuesday weekly training. Shout out to all the new people, the Virginia team on here. And every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, we do this weekly training. So we just heard from Charles, and we're doing some post-convention, post-scale-up update and recap. So here's just a few pictures I wanted to share. And I just wanted to give you my 1 minute. This really is a culture and a family. I can't wait to see you all at the live events in person when we open back up. Someone said it best, there's not 1 ounce of arrogance, top-down leadership. And this event truly built back the trust of every consultant. I think it gave us immense amount of street credibility, the level and caliber and production value of some of the content and videos like I just shared in the chat. I would be sharing that join video with everyone you're talking to, period. I'm sending it to everyone. I'm sending it to my family because I think it's so cool. It helps that I'm in it, but it's a really, really awesome video. And the caliber of the content is just amazing. So, celebrating JC's birthday, giving him this extra aged anejo with it's actually a son, Ray Soul, which is really cool, and spending time with the leadership. Jonathan Budd, the corporate headquarters guys is badass. And just the leadership of Jonathan Budd and the visionary, and he's really fighting to drive down our cost, every penny, every cent, trying to get us down another 10 to 20 cents here this year alone. He's ruthless as far as getting the cost down and where he wants to go and where this business can go and the funds that we need to raise to do it. I mean, I'm just blown away by his forward thinking. His tenacity and his ambition is off the freaking charts. So we are definitely at a great company. So let's go ahead and jump into some updates and announcements from the actual event to cover. Okay. So there is an Enphase storage training tomorrow, Wednesday at noon. All events are in powurcalendar.com. So please try to attend that training tomorrow to learn more about the Enphase storage solution. It's about it's about 13 grand, I believe, Jarrett, and there's about 2,100 to 2,900 of margin inside of the battery as well.
I saw 14.9 on my proposal, so
okay.
That might be tax included. I don't know, different for different markets.
Yep.
Mine showed 13.9 in 2 markets in Florida and California.
Gotcha. And the M1, M2 cost sheets will kind of true that up for us, but just know that there is some margin in the battery, and depending on the installer, there's a little bit of parts and labor fee associated that can vary a bit, but amazing offering, 10 kilowatt hour battery, 10-year warranty, 70% energy at the end of 10 years. So we'll learn a lot more tomorrow.
Cool.
That. There was also an announcement, an Aptos 400 watt black on black panel. And this truly is a game changer. If you are talking to a homeowner and you're showing them 400 watt, you're crushing the rest of the competition right off the bat. If you are talking to a potential recruit, someone that's in the solar industry that wants to join Powur, and you tell them one of our base panels is 400 watt that we offer, that's a game changer. Not many companies offer that, including storage. So just know that you have all the tools to succeed with these announcements. Like we heard from the success stories, you're winning past deals or deals that you lost with this new tools and equipment here. The Hanwha 350 watt panel had a price reduction. That's one of my favorites. And then Hyundai, there's a 320, which is extremely cheap, black on black. So getting a little back feed there. So if you needed a less expensive panel and you have abundant amount of space on the roof or the ground, the Hanwha 350 and Hyundai 320 are great options. And Cynthia is going to teach next week on how to pick the best panel or pick the best inverter. We also got Panasonic 360s for those that want a premium top of the line panel with good warranties. Maybe you're going against SunPower. With a Panasonic 360 or an Aptos 400, you're sure to succeed on that, especially with our 30-year warranty that we're offering and Enphase inverters. Sunlight Financial yesterday announced that we do have Spanish docs. Congrats, Lily. So Sunlight is now giving us Spanish documents for a lot of our community. So if you know anyone that speaks Spanish, Spanish only, they're going to continue to train on that. There was a training yesterday, but on March 10th, they will do a consultant training to talk about Sunlight Financial. And they also announced a new loan, 10-year loan, 6.24 interest rate with a 0% dealer fee. So no dealer fee, 10 years for 6%. That's pretty huge, which is really cool. And then LoanPal FlexPay Gives us the ability to get the monthly payment, especially in the first 18 months, very low. I don't know that much about it, but if you go to the resources page, blog.resources.com, you can learn more. There's a slide deck. And then the training on that will be March 3rd for the LoanPal Flex Pay there. And if this is not making sense to you, just get with your leadership. Your mentor can explain this when you assign them your first deal or couple deals. So just know that it's all amazing, but if you need more information, training is to come, and just work with your sponsor, mentor, leadership on this information. Okay, there's some new videos. I put the why join Powur in the chat, and then why go solar from a homeowner perspective. I tell you, I'm literally sharing these with everybody right now, posting them online. So there's why go Powur as a homeowner. I'll just put it in the chat. Why join Powur if you're a consultant, all of our stories. And there is other online marketing links in powur.com. You can share those valuable links, right? So if you go to powur.com, online marketing, you can see educational links to share. And people can click into those, watch videos, and if they're interested, they'll enter their information. So Melissa Dawson's breakout really taught about how to use the online marketing links, the educational links that are in powur.com. Also, if you didn't attend Scale Up or you did attend Scale Up, there is breakout sessions from the top 15 sales earners, income earners in the company. So I'll put that in the chat right now as well, breakouts to watch. So you can go in and watch Melissa Dawson, Bobby Smith, you could see my training. There's 16 invaluable videos in there if you want to scale up your business and learn about different ways to make more money, recruit people, get leads, social media, you name it. There's a great breakout in there. Okay, moving on. Another promotion that was announced during the Scale Up event, which also is being covered in the newsletter email today, if you all got the newsletter. Powur did start the 12 months free promotion. So it's a 12 months of no payments. What it is, it's a stimulus rebate. If your monthly payment on your loan is $100, Powur will send a $1,200 check. I like to say 4 to 8 weeks after installation. It'll probably be in the first 3 weeks, but always say a little bit longer. So they will receive a check equal to 12 months of payments. That's not, they still have to pay the monthly payment to the lender. This is just a check equal to 12 monthly payments. So some people asked about that. I think Isela, one of your clients, asked about that. And it does, just keep in mind, it does add to the total project cost. So it does increase the monthly a few dollars. I know that might sound weird, but it's still a strategic advantage. Our costs are lower than a lot of other companies, and our value and our tools and our equipment. So yes, it does add into the cost. Imagine you're the business owner. You have all the tools to price it how you want. So it does add to the cost. They will receive a check equal to 12 monthly payments. You don't have to have it. You could leave it out. And then keep in mind, we always have a homeowner rebate equal to up to $599 if you wanted to do that option as well. And then all the information and marketing assets are in the blog, which I put in the chat as well. So a lot of you are already sharing those on social media, downloading them, which is awesome. All right. Couple last announcements here before we do a final Q&A. So next Tuesday, someone that I've known for 10 to 12 years, Cynthia Elvidra, is a great mentor on the team. She is hosting a training for us, how to pick the right solar panel or how to pick the right inverter. A lot of new people are like, I don't know which panel to pick, and your mentor will tell you what to do. But If you want to learn about all the different offerings, next week will be a great one. And then following that, we're going to have our own personal training with Sunlight Financial, my favorite lender, who has a really great points reward system as well. So I got to buy a lot of cool stuff like Bose sunglasses with audio built in and, you know, random things. So Sunlight Financial training, March 9th for our Tuesday weekly series. And then here is a graphic. It is the 26% federal tax rate has been extended. This was approved by compliance because it has the independent consultant logo on it. Just a real clean graphic here that you can share and post online. I'm all about these graphics and creating great marketing content. And here's another one that I just created. On the bottom right, and I'm going to share with you, of course, where all of our marketing assets are at for this team. Yeah, Solar Lily, thanks for asking. All of these marketing graphics are in that Google Drive that I just sent over. One is called tax credit and one is called real estate for solar. So this bottom right corner here is just an idea that I had. Anyone in a real estate, a realtor, a lender, they can use this graphic. They can say, I help with all your real estate needs, real estate, buying, selling, loans, and solar, right? And this is just emphasizing power. Anyone in real estate, realtor, or lending will love to put this up on their social media and partner with you. And I do have a graphic designer. So if you wanted a special logo for your lending company and your real estate company, I have done that for two of my friends who own these types of companies. So if any requests, we can get with the graphic designer and create some special content. And even Isela is a pro. I think you must use canva.com is my guess, right?
No, I'm a retired graphic designer, so I use Photoshop.
Oh, my bad. My bad, Isela. Well, for the rest of us newbies, canva.com is badass. You can add your photo instantly, remove the background, and add it to all these graphics, customize it, put some text in it. It's so worth it. So hope this graphic helps you guys all out. If you have any other ideas for graphics, let me know. We have 2 in-person events coming up. In-person business opportunity events in the Los Angeles, Southern California area. So JC and I are hosting one March 18th. We will miss you, Charles. He has to be out of state. But March 18th, 6 p.m., right after the CEO call in Claremont. It's a giant, you can see in the background here, a giant enclosed outdoor patio with a swanky bar, a stage. We're going to be distanced. We'll be wearing masks when we're not eating or drinking and trying to be safe. And we can accommodate quite a bit of people. You can only show up if you have a guest. So write this time and date down. The other in-person event is a little bit smaller group. JC will be hosting that this Saturday around 9:30 a.m. And that's in Downey area, I believe, and it's on his Facebook page. He made a Facebook event for it. And so did I for the March 18th event as well. So those are in person, starting to slowly get back to some of that fun stuff. Can't wait to see you guys. And then future events online, like I mentioned, tomorrow, that consultant training, end phase, huge to be on that. We're going to resume with the Q&As, I believe. Maybe Charles can elaborate on that. February 26th, this Friday, Q&A, team building. March 3rd, that Loan Pal, and March 10th, that Sunlight Financial training. And of course, every Tuesday, you can jump on here as well. So that kind of wraps up this Tuesday's team training. I want to see if there's any questions out there. Feel free to jump off of mute, put it in the chat, and we can all go out and have a great day today.
Thanks for the reminder, JB. I got to make sure we have the right graphics up there, getting back to the live Q&As. We got to do that on Fridays. Yes.
Cool. Sounds good.
Jonathan, this is Louis. I have a question, and I guess it's sort of a request. If we have the new videos, or if there's a plan to have the new videos like join and the Go Solar videos in Spanish, is that coming up, or can we request that?
Charles.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Everything's in works.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Jonathan Budd told me, what was that, Sunday? He's like that those are going to be worked on ASAP.
Yep.
Guys, yeah.
Amazing. Yes, because we do got a team coming up in Dallas and here in California, all Spanish speaking. So yeah, that would be great.
Perfect. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Brunasso, I had a technical question that maybe you can help out with. We might be able to help the team. Yesterday, I did a proposal, another big system, 20 kW lady, had her brother and his daughter move in. And since they've moved in, he's been plugging in his Tesla. You know, they're using a lot more energy, almost doubled her energy usage. So designing the system to cover that usage makes sense for now, but they might move out in a year or two. Not sure how long term. And her concern is, hey, if I build this out now, covering the usage, they move out. Now I have an oversized system. We obviously talked about the credit that they get back from PG&E. They're going to get a credit back. And I always preface saying no one gets rich or really makes any money from the offset. But if it was high enough, that credit that they would get, could it go towards, one, their connection charge, but two, their gas? Like, they still have a bill with PG&E, and if they earn big enough credit, could it go towards their gas bill, covering that? Do we know? Has anybody experienced that?
So my immediate answer on a few different things would be that you want to look at their current usage and then look at the anticipated usage. You also want to look at a time of use plan for electric vehicles. If you're producing during the day at a higher credit and taking back cheaper at night, you may not need such a high offset to account for that. They might be charging that car elsewhere. Maybe they're not driving that much right now. So my initial instinct would be to do an offset of around 130 to 140% of the current needs, right? Not the future needs, but maybe the current needs. So you're finding a happy medium between what they're using and what they may use. And worst case, they would just have to give a little bit more to PG&E. So I would lean in there. Now, even if you did increase the system size, it's still cheaper than what they're paying PG&E with less usage, most likely, right? So either way, even with the higher offset, you're still saving money. Now, to answer the question about the credits, at the end of a 12-month period for that true up, they credit you at what's called like a wholesale rate. My best guess is it's around 6 to 9 cents. So if you have a leftover credit at the end of 12 months, they will give you two options. You can have a check sent to you, or you can take that credit with you to the next 12-month cycle. I'm fairly confident that that can only be applied to the electricity. I believe gas is totally separate, but that's my answer for those questions. Carl?
Okay, thanks.
I'm about right.
Spoke with one of the PG&E reps about this a while back, and according to them, that credit is applied as part of your total bill, including gas. But their wholesale rate is actually a lot less. It's like 2.5 to 3 cents. Is what they buy it back for. So not sure if that's what they said, but I'm not sure if they're really.
Yeah,
so you're saying 2 to 3 cents is that's what they buy back of excess.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a caution on going over 120% for a number of reasons, and that's you're going to typically see that you're looking at wholesale versus retail, and economically that typically isn't going to make sense. The cost of producing energy is going to be higher than the wholesale cost of the buyback, even if they're crediting against gas. And I have not seen that they do that in my experience. Others might differ. I wouldn't go much higher than 120% unless there's a good reason. little pause with the aircraft. So just, be cautious. At least in my experience, 120 here in California is kind of the number, unless you're going to, again, have additional usage that they're targeting, and you're going to be offsetting against that.
Yeah, and in this specific case, he's lived there for 4 months, and the past 4 months, it's been 1,000 kilowatt hours above. So that's why we were trying to predict moving forward. We're like, okay, he adds an extra 1,000 kilowatt hours per month. So we could cover that, but obviously if she leaves, it's at like 180% offset. So we're just trying to figure out the right move. I think, and this kind of goes back to what Jonathan said, we were kind of sizing it in the middle, in between.
Yeah.
So she would have a good offset, and maybe pays a couple bucks to PG&E at the end of the year, but doesn't leave her high and dry in a couple of years with a 20-year, loan of a system that's way oversized that she needs for herself.
And anyone hearing this might be going, what the heck?
But if it did pay for gas, then it pays that.
Just know that if you're new, don't let this concern you, because it's all based on annual usage in these particular utilities. You might have some months that you're producing way more than they're using. That all just kind of rolls over and then reconciles on an annual basis, called a true up. But don't worry yourself with that.
Yeah.
I had input.
Go ahead, Ronald.
Couldn't they use the stimulus program to get that 12 months to offset that 1 year that he's going to be there?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a promotion that could help benefit them if it makes sense, to help account for some of that. Yeah, there's a few ways you could play that.
That's a birthday for Dwayne?
Dwayne, is it your birthday today or is it March 18th?
March 18th.
Okay. So when we're all partying, if you're not there, we'll do his virtual shout out. Any other questions, team?
Hey, so you say you need a guest to go to the party, even if I'm coming from out of state, would I be considered a guest?
Oh, you're an exception, Anthony, because if you're coming from Texas, you can stay in my house if you want to. No, I just, because of COVID, honestly, and safety protocols, if we had 80 of our own teammates there with no guests, it would defeat the purpose. So do what you can to bring a guest. Of course, we want to welcome as many people as possible, but just really need to encourage that the space is first and foremost for guests, right? But Anthony, I'd love to see you.
Jonathan, I have a question real quick. I've been working with some of the customers that are adding a solar as a second system, either a brand new construction or they're just using, a lot more. I know we've talked about this before, but anything beside the usage and them transitioning to the new time of use, anything that we should pay extra attention to when designing or submitting the system?
I think it's beneficial to know the existing system specs and whether it's a lease or purchase. I have done a few second systems myself. The direction, if you're in time of use California, for example, if it's west facing or south facing is ideal. So keep in mind the direction of where it's facing. If they did go solar prior to a year or two ago in California, likely they're on what's called NEM 1.0, which is a tier system. And they're allowed to stay on that for likely 20 years grandfathered in. Now, technically, when you do a second system, you are supposed to submit for permit, and you are supposed to submit to the utility for NEM, net metering, which would then trigger net metering 2.0, which is the current standard, which requires time of use billing. Now, 3 of my clients signed a waiver saying they're okay not submitting NEM to the utility, and if the utility finds out, they take responsibility. So I'm just letting you know that that option may be on the table if we are able to skip the NEM, but the homeowner does take a little responsibility if the utility finds out. Not likely, but those are really the things to look out for when adding a second system on to the existing system. That's really it.
So just switching to the new NEM basically, and that's the only downside. But other than that, it will be a completely separate system, both hooked up to the same meter, acting as one solar system.
Correct. Yes. And we may be able to avoid the net metering 2.0, but you know, worst case, that's what could happen. It's a good question.
While we're on that subject, I don't have the link on me, but can everyone sign that form to keep it from going to NEM 3.0, where it could be up to $75 in California for the connection fee if you're here?
Let me see if I can find that real fast, Lily.
And following up on that question, Jonathan, is there a minimum of panels that we can add, or how does that work? Is there a minimum?
Generally, our minimum is about 8 panels.
8 panels, got it.
Under 4 kilowatts, there is what's called a small system adder. If you click on pricing, you will see that there is a little bit of a fee for having such a small system. But yeah, I would like to say 8 or even 9 panels is the minimum.
Got it. Thank you.
And
Lily, and just to clear up, when you talk about that $75 interconnection charge, that's a one-time initial charge. That's not a monthly.
right, yeah. That's what SDG&E has implemented. I believe they have kind of like a one-time application fee from them. And I went ahead and I put the link to Save California Solar, signing the petition. If anyone on here can take a minute to go ahead and do that today. And then Mike Hernandez asked, when will the Hanwha 350 show the price reduction? I'm not sure if you need to ask for a revision or if they have put it into the system yet. But just know that I've even seen at times, by the time they order those parts, that's when Powur pays for those panels. And so your M2 commission sheet will reflect the lower pricing, which is amazing. I mean, no other company does that. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure when that's going to be reflected on the proposal tool, Mike.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. All righty. Any last questions here before we hop off? All righty. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Jarrett, Anthony Bonilla with your Virginia team, all the new guests and visitors that we have. Looking forward to these live events coming up, all the trainings that we got going on. This scale up really set the bar for the industry and what tools we have now to win every deal and build teams and attract other people. So thank you, Charles. The best is ahead, like he said. Major kudos to all y'all. Can't wait to see you. Have a great week. We will see you soon. Go ahead and hop off and say bye.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Brunasso.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.